What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first for the headspace of the masculine? We are going to be utilizing the Smith-Waite Centennial deck. Can I get 3 cards for the headspace of masculine energy? Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. We've got the Queen of Wands in its upright. We've got the 7 of Wands in its reversal. And we also have the Hermit card in its upright. So what are we effectively seeing that is occurring here? There's a lot of thought that we see that masculine is giving as it relates to what it takes to build into healthy counterpart connection, right? And it's a conversation, and I'm not surprised to see this type of energy right now as we're moving through Cancerian lessons. Jupiter, I keep on, every time I read for masculine right now, I see masculine deep within Jupiter and Cancer. And Cancerian lessons often talk about us about the intense, important work that we need to do to heal the ego. And that doesn't mean that we shed the ego entirely. But when the ego is too big, you have to think about it like a shell. When the ego is too big, it creates a barrier that cannot be penetrated by the outside world, right? The modality by which we build it and build it and build it, it doesn't create the space by which we can feel anything. We often get trapped within it. And that modality, this is why we often work, right? And here's the thing about it. We don't escape. There's no escape from your ego. And we have to kind of alleviate ourselves of that falsity. Because when you think about ego from a place of escape, and we see this with the symbology of a crab, right? What happens when the crab sheds their shell? Is the crab naked? No, the crab's got another shell under there, right? The ego, if you can't separate oneself from the ego, but rather the work we do to have a streamlined ego is often an ego that we're energetically proud of. It matches, right? What's the inside feels like it's very sleek to what is effectively what's inside, right? It's a matching set, and it allows the ability to be able to communicate, and the ego can do the work that it's supposed to do, which is protect the soul. So we see that for a lot of the energy right now, I see a lot of the masculine energy doing that heavy, important investiture. And it's interesting because I keep on hearing it's not ego shedding, it's ego setting, right? It's not ego shedding, it's ego setting. So we do the work to shed the ego so that we can set the effective expectation going forward. And I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy, this is the observation that the energy is bringing forth as it relates to how they communicate to counterpart, right? Because that's the thing, right? When we're too much in our, and here's the thing about this type of energy right now is overthinking central. Okay. It's wheel spinning energy. It can be very, very frustrating. It can be working through the anxiety that you're doing something and you're not seeing the impact that you would aspire and desire to have. This is your daily reminder that that is the vibe right now. Don't over internalize an outside problem. Just continue to be. And when I keep learning, when we're building, and this is why we talk about when you're working towards a manifestation, the first thing you need to do is get rid of that pesky expectation, right? The manifestation should be in the work that you do to work to manifest. That's why it's called a manifestation instead of a dream. It's finding the ideal position by which you work towards the energetic dreams. So I keep on seeing that there's something really important in relationality to that. In terms of masculine, I keep on hearing we have a steady, we have we do the work to have a steady headspace, because when we have a steady headspace, we set that to ourselves, not just to ourselves, but to all of the energy around the self. So there's a lot of that energy that we see here. And what's beautiful about it is I feel like a lot of that masculine energy feels like they're doing that, and it's the work for two, right? It's a gift of the self that immediately has a gift that we give back to healthy counterpart, because the healthy counterpart doesn't have to wonder what's going on. We're in the modality by which we're just able to express it. Now, moving on to feminine energy right now, we're going to be utilizing the Tarot of the Divine for the headspace of feminine right now. Can I get 3 cards? 3 cards to clarify. 1, 2, 3. What do we have in the headspace of feminine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to? We've got the 9 of Cups in its reversal. We've got the 2 of Cups in its upright. And we've got the 4 of Wands in its reversal. Heavy wand energy today. We've got all wands and cups so far. Feminine is working through the observation of being able to recognize, and here's the thing about it. This is feminine energy, and we were seeing this the other day as well. Letting go of another's energetic, it is working. It is all I keep on hearing is a conversation related around the situation of forgiveness, right? That the quality of forgiveness is always something that should be energetically balanced across all energy, is what I keep on seeing. And this is why we talk about, it's the journey of healing is not about forgiving everything. It's about understanding what you are working to forgive inside or outside, right? Because I keep on seeing that what happens is we often end up in disproportional relationships when we're in the modality by which another, and this is what happens, right? When another person is transgressing and another person is forgiving, that is the sound of a relationship that's going backwards instead of forward, right? The modality and experience that when we are honoring our standards, it doesn't create the space of transgression. It doesn't require us to be in the modality or the capacity by which we feel that we need to effectively be perpetually in a state of forgiving. Because forgiveness, and then we were talking about this, the derivation of the word forgive is for, right? You let something go for giving, for what will come ahead of it. The ability to understand that that is the context by which we forgive. It doesn't mean that we are perpetually in a state of repeating and forgiving the same thing over and over and over again, because that often feels like the space by which we're trapped in a rut, or we feel like we're going through those energetic cycles. And this is what will happen if you're too forgiving, right? The modality by which you will forgive is amplified and articulated by the fact that there is something that is being given. That is why there's a word there. It's the gift, that it is the energetic gift of progress that is given in exchange for transgression. It's the modality by which we understand that something moves forward from a harm, not the space by which you perpetually are forgiving the same harm over and over and over again. So that's why we see that for a lot of the energy right now, working through path work of discernment, being able to effectively identify and recognize what it is that one is setting one's intention towards, but not just what one is setting one's intention towards, what one is working on effectively holding with more stability. It's an identification and articulation that our standards help us with discernment. And when we're holding our standards, when we recognize what our standards are, then it allows us the context of being able to identify and recognize what it is that we're working on trying to do better. And so in the modality by which, and this is why we keep on hearing, your standards will protect you from energy that is not for you, because the modality, and again, the one thing we have to be conscientious about that when we hold our standards is understanding and explaining to others why we have them, because there is a tendency that our trauma has. Our trauma loves nothing more than to disguise itself as our standards and masquerade as our standards. And the ability that we're able to discern a true standard, something that we hold dear, that is mutually shared and recognized, versus our trauma in disguise, is the ability to define why we hold on to something or why something is energetically dear to us. So we see that for a lot of the energy right now, working through that, this is the context by which there's healthy relationship. And I keep on getting, this is either the relationship, this is feminine focusing on relationships by which their standards, right, are non-negotiable, right? Somebody who comes into the space of saying obviously is the sweetest thing you hear, versus, and in the context of receiving that healing from experiences by which it made it feel like another person was pushing someone, like pushing the self in direction that didn't feel energetically comfortable. But this is why it's important, right? This is why it's important that we have an ability to articulate upon our standards, and not just articulate upon them, stand firm on them, right? To clarify against any kind of misunderstanding or discombobulation. Now, this brings us to non-binary energy, and for our purposes, we'll be utilizing the Aquarian Tarot for non-binary energy right now. Can I please get 3 cards? Highest party messages. 3 cards are out right now. First 3 cards, we've got the Knight of Wands in its reversal. We've got We've got the King of Swords in its reversal, and we've got the Lover's card in its reversal. So this is very, very interesting because this is all court cards and major arcana. And this has a lot to do. I feel like what we see non-binary energy doing right now is working through and concentrating and finding their exquisite. And that's very difficult, is what I keep on seeing. And a lot of that energy that we see, and the thing about trying on one's exquisite is the space by which one moves through modalities and experiences by which, and it's a continuation of what we see that's happening a bit in the masculine headspace. It's very much similar to that. It's the observation that change, the context by which we change, is fortified by our ability to change, right? It's a little bit of a continuation of understanding that change for change's sake is not a manifestation goal, right? And that often somebody who's energetically fickle will articulate that change for change's sake is a manifestation goal, but it's not. The identification point of understanding that as we move towards a manifestation goal, we will change, helps us to build into the context of our own sense of purpose. And so I literally see, right? I literally see some kind of situation that non-binary is going through as it relates to helping another person identify the consistent change that one makes, like the consistent but perpetual changes that one make as one moves closer to a manifestation goal, as opposed to the change that someone articulates, that the change that has absolutely no rhyme or reason, right? That effectively we move towards when we're too changeable, when we're too adaptable, right? And that's where we see that that's what happens when we're energetically fickle, right? It's the modality by which we're just constantly like, and you'll notice this, right? It's like the opposite of being stubborn, just constantly in the space by which others can't necessarily keep up with the self. So I feel like there's something really important about that, because the thing about this energy right now, and you've probably felt it too, there's like it's prickly, right? Chiron just came out of retrograde in Aries, right? Venus is tucked between Mars and Mercury behind it and Mars before it, which is getting frustrated at the self in relationality to where one aspires to be. But often the energy kind of working through the context of feeling, and this is what I keep on hearing, like when we feel vexed, track our progress, right? When we feel less than our best, that is a good time to track the progress, because energy like this can sometimes create like that feeling I keep on getting. It's rut energy. It can create a little bit of a feeling of hopelessness. So that's why this is the energy that says, like, it's funny too, because it's not saying like a little break will do you good. I keep on hearing a little review is what I keep on hearing. A little review will do you good. And that's either something that they're giving to counterpart, or they're receiving from counterpart, or they're trying to give themselves right now. Continuing to get clarification, and we're moving into the heart space, of masculine energy. Can I get 3 cards, please? And we're going to be utilizing the tarot of the divine right now for the heart space of masculine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. We've got the Tower card in its reversal. We've got the 5 of Swords in its reversal. And we have the 9 of coins in its reversal. Now, this is very interesting because we've got a lot of 9 energy on the table now. We've got double 9s coming through for masculine and feminine. And this is what's hard, right? Because I keep on seeing that for a lot of the masculine energy, working through the process of inner child healing, right? And this is why I keep on seeing that this is coming up. Inner child healing does not mean healing the person that you were when you were a child. Inner child healing means forgiving the self that you were when you thought you knew everything. That's the difficulty point of an unhealed inner child. It's not about the youth of it. It's often the fact that the demarcation point of feeling like one knows anything becomes the limitation point. So that's why we see that for a lot of those situations or circumstances, that adaptability, that understanding, that recognition in relationality to what they are energetically working through. I keep on seeing that it's hard because I feel like that for a lot of the energy that's doing this work right now, the observation of looking back on a past version of self that isn't perfect, that would not be in the space of making the same choices that one makes today, that is a gift. That is always a gift because it means that we're moving through a maturation cycle, but it's not easy because the hard part with this type of energy right now, and this has a lot to do with the fact that we recognize that Jupiter is retrograding in Cancer, but Neptune and Saturn are also are in Pisces, and they're moving back into transiting in Aries, right? So it's the feeling, it's working through the pull of the past, right? How tempting it is. I keep on hearing how tempting it is to become nostalgic. But here's the thing you have to understand. Nostalgia itself is a wall. Nostalgia is its own prison. Because when you get nostalgic for things, and this is what I keep on hearing with the masculine energy, you have to understand the brain has a really hard time holding on to the memory of pain. So often the things that we are energetically nostalgic about are not at all the context by which we experience them. This is why it's so easy to get sentimental on something that was actually rather brutal. So a lot of that energy, I feel like it's almost the energy of the masculine working through a modality of deep sentimentality and trying to fortify it with a reality check, right? And I keep wondering, what is a reality check? It's the observation of trying to actually return back to the fact of understanding, like what the energetic difficulty point, like what was the hurdle. And for some of the energy, I'm going to see like some of that energy may be saying that they were the hurdle, right? Looking upon something and being like, that was a me thing. Like that was the limitation in terms of that relationship coming together. That was a limitation in relationality to how I was perceiving things. But that perception, right? That perception of the energetic limitation is the space by which anything can happen, right? It's new ground. It's the ground that we find in ourselves because it's the observation of being able to see that that allows us the context to change. So I keep on hearing that for a lot of the heart space of the masculine, it's almost the space that says you have to hold yourself gently in the context of change. And the way we hold ourselves gently in the context of change is by holding new standards, right? Because the new standards act as a cradle for what it is that we're working to resolve or dissolve within ourselves. So for a lot of that energy, that is the energy that is working through that by going through those experiences and seeing those spaces by which they wish they could have been better, right? This is a continuation of what we were reading yesterday. The space by which we forgive ourselves because and this is what we mean. This is the true sound of forgiveness. With every space I desire to change, a new standard is created, right? Like that is literally what we mean by forgiveness. We give ourselves a new standard to energetically resolve upon something not energetically happening again. That's forgiveness is not, we need a different word. Forgiveness is not accurate in the space by which you're forgiving something over and over and over again because there's no for to it. There's nothing ahead. It's just going backwards instead of forwards. And this is bringing us to the feminine energy. Again, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. We're going to be utilizing the Smith-Waite Centennial deck for the heart space of feminine. 3 cards, please. We've got here the Queen of Cups, and this is very important because yesterday, if you were following along, we had all of the court cards. We had all of the court cards out in yesterday's reading, all of the court cards for the cups, the cup suite. And that's not really surprising and intriguing given the fact that we're coming out of a Cancerian full moon. But we see here that this is a lot of the feminine that's working through the modality of, again, also working towards forgiveness. But I keep on hearing this is the internalized forgiveness of the feminine, right? Look, and we've got double tower energy in its reversal because the three cards that we've got coming through in the heart space of feminine are the Queen of Cups, the Eight of Swords in its upright, and the Tower in its reversal, similar to masculine. So we've got a lot of this energy here. It's a big alignment day. And the alignment day that we're effectively identifying and recognizing is working through the context. I keep wondering, working through the context of feminine, forgiving, like there's forgiveness that's happening here. And what is the forgiveness that's happening for feminine? Forgiving themselves from the illusion that a healthy relationship would ever require them to abandon their standards. Healthy relationships don't require us to abandon our standards, to enter them. Healthy relationships raise our standards as we proceed towards them. So that's what we see that's effectively happening here. But there's a lot of, again, a lot of emotional catharsis that's happening in relationality to circumstances or situations by which feminine felt like they may have potentially abandoned themselves, all for the sake of trying to move towards a love connection. But that's the thing about it. A healthy connection never requires one to surrender one's standards to be able to move closer towards it. This brings us to the non-binary energy and 3 cards for non-binary heart space right now. We are going to be utilizing the Tarot of the Divine for the heart space of non-binary right now. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. The Wheel of Fortune in its upright. The 7 of Wands in its reversal. So now we've got similarity between masculine and non-binary energy. So these energies are in very close proximity to each other today because we've got a lot of similar cards that are popping up. And we've got the 9 of Wands in its reversal. Continuation on heavy 9 energy right now in this reading. So let's talk a little bit about the heart space that we see of non-binary right now. It's a similar conversation as it relates to forgiving things. Right? When we forgive anything, nothing matters, is what I keep on hearing. Like the space by which I keep on hearing, and it's working through. I keep on hearing it's a conversation in the context of change, and it's a conversation on the context of forgiveness, and it has to do with the understanding that anything is possible so long as the work is mutual. Anything is possible so long as the work is mutual. But you will encounter someone who wants to fix something, but articulates that the work is entirely up to you to fix it. That's not true. That's not the way things work, is what I literally see. And that's what I keep on hearing, like, this is the energy that works through. And this is often how you can usually tell when someone has a different manifestation goal than you, right? Like I see here, like this is that long tail that you often see in terms of like a different energy saying this is what would be needed to fix it, and the modality by which another person says like what needs to be fixed it, and another person says that's not what's wrong with it, right? Like the modality by which you can recognize someone that does not have the same manifestation goal as you is as simple. It's as simple as somebody articulating and saying, this is what you need to do to fix it. And you looking at that person and going, that would fix it, but not the way that I would aspire it to be fixed, right? When we're building towards something, how we fix something articulates the shape that we aspire and desire it to be. And so everything I keep on seeing in relationality to that is this is potentially, I just keep on getting, there's something in the heart space of non-binary saying that was like either regaling someone of the story by which another person articulated to them what they thought they needed to do to fix something and saying that would not have fixed it, that would have broken it further, right? The modality of seeing how broken something was how broken something was in the context of what another person articulated that they wanted them to do in order to maintain it, right? Being like, wow, that manifestation is going way off, like way off the rails, right? I keep on hearing the manifestation that goes way off the rails when you suddenly recognize the articulation of what another person is saying that they would aspire and desire to have the change be in the context of fixing something, right? Like that, I keep on hearing that and the modality of recognizing the difference between what another person articulates that they aspire for versus what they're actually asking for, right? I keep on hearing love is healthy listening. And why are they articulating that love is healthy listening? Because love is healthy listening in the context by which it's not just the fact that we say, right? It's not just the fact that we say that we have a manifestation, because here's the sad truth. The sad truth is when somebody isn't in a healthy space, they'll articulate that they have the same manifestation goal as you, just in the context by which they're desperate for connection. It's sad but true. It's sad but true. That's why I keep on getting a lot of sad but true energy that we're seeing in relationality to this to this heart space right now. And that observation, right? It's a terrible place to be, because why would you go around giving a false manifestation to the world? That's often that's often a sign that you're not in a healthy space, because a healthy manifestation is something that is mutually shared, and our manifestations become blessed when we articulate them to others. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of those situations and circumstances, the working through the heart space in that capacity, I keep on hearing there's a lot of guardrails there, right? There's a lot of guardrails around the non-binary energy, because it's the observation of having to work through the context of being extra energetically careful in relationality to who they allow into their heart space for reasons such as the ones that I am listing. Continuing to get clarification, we're going to move towards the unconscious of the masculine space now. And for our purposes, we are going to be utilizing the Aquarian Tarot for the heart, the unconscious of masculine. 3 cards to clarify, please. We got the 10 of Cups in its upright. We've got the 7 of Cups in its reversal. And we have the King of Cups in its upright. So here we go again, man. We've been getting this massive, massive influx of court card cup energy over the last few days. I'm not surprised to see it coming out of this Cancer full moon cycle. We're deep in our feels. It's deep in our feels energy. But I keep on getting, and this is why we see that a lot of the masculine, it is investing in feeling their feels. I know it sounds like the simplest thing at all, ever, but you want to get on a healthy healing journey. You want to start being in a good relationship. You got to start making friends with your feels. You got to become invested in understanding your feelings. It's the hardest thing to do, but it's also the most important thing. And I keep on getting that a lot of the masculine is recovering. They're in active recovery from situations and circumstances that somehow gave them the illusion that if they were in their feels, they'd be less masculine. Everything we have is a gift. Every single thing we come here with is a gift. There is nothing that we're supposed to shed. We're supposed to understand it. So this is a lot of the masculine that is working through the simultaneous rage of trying to feel their feels, but also trying to recover from experiences that if you actually want to be masculine, you got to get rid of those feelings. Masculines don't have feelings. Then if you're not supposed to have feelings, why'd you come here with them? If you are a miracle and you're not, and everything within you is a gift, so are the feelings. The feelings are not pesky. They're not to be moved aside. Because here's the funny thing. The funny thing about feelings is if you say that you're not dealing with them, they go somewhere, right? They go right up into the unconscious. Now they're controlling everything. The way that we navigate our feelings is we deal with them. This is Pluto and in Aquarius, right? When you don't deal with something, it takes over everything. So the modality by which the energy is working through healthy processing of the emotions, this is the energy that says, it feels like I keep on hearing and it's so easy. I keep on hearing it's so easy to just want to and that's a hard part. So much of this energy is learned how to disassociate. And this is why learning how to disassociate is the most dangerous thing, because once you know that the disassociation is there, it's always ever lingering. It's always tempting, but it makes things worse instead of better. So I just see a lot of that energy doing that work in terms of healthy processing and relationality to experiences such as that. Moving towards feminine, 3 cards for feminine, please. And we'll be utilizing in the unconscious space for feminine. We'll be utilizing we are actually also going to be utilizing today the Aquarian Tarot for the unconscious of feminine. Can I get 3 cards, please? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Yep. We've got, and I think that this is interesting too, because I believe the reason I feel like we're getting so much of this Aquarian Tarot energy right now in the unconscious space has a lot to do with the continuation of the fact that Pluto's in Aquarius. And with Cancer, with Cancer, with Jupiter in Cancer, like working into like the thing about it, and I like to point this out, this type of energy makes it very easy to see down into the unconscious right now, is what I keep on getting. So we've got the Page of Swords, we've got the 3 of Pentacles in its reversal, and we also have the Temperance card. So this is a lot of energy. Like I just keep on hearing in the unconscious of the feminine, you have to be patient as you move towards a manifestation goal. Manifestations are not means to an end. Manifestations are not means to an end. It's the work that we do, right? The manifestation also includes every step to get there. A healthy manifestation is not about going through torture and then getting the thing that you energetically want. That's a part of the manifestation, right? Like it should not feel, I keep on hearing a healthy manifestation should not feel like you're energetically pulling teeth every step of the way of moving towards the manifestation. It should feel like a walk. It should feel energetically natural. It should feel like it's an energetic alignment. And I feel like there's something I'm seeing here there's something I'm seeing in the feminine energy that is releasing the idea that in order to receive something you have to suffer for it. Is what I keep on seeing. Like that is what I keep on, and I don't know why the feminine is holding on to. I think I know why, because it's related to the energetic birthing process, right? The space by which I keep on hearing, like, this is what feminine is trying to work through. They're trying to let go of the fault, like the illusion that in order to energetically receive something, you have to suffer through it. And that the suffering is proportional to what you receive. I keep on seeing the space by which we work. Because here's the thing about it. If you feel like that and you're constantly working towards manifestation goals, then you're just putting yourself through unnecessary suffering constantly, is what I keep on hearing. Right. And that's what happens. And that's why you never find your manifestation goal, because you're trying to work to your manifestation goal and everybody's looking at you and going, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, no, I'm suffering to get to my manifestation goal, and being like, well, I don't know if you're going to find it. I don't know if you're going to find it in that mood, right? Because when you're working towards it, you're trying to get into alignment with the way that you feel. Like the most important thing you have to understand with a manifestation goal is not why you want it. How will it make you feel? And then you work to feel the way that it's real, because that's the goal of the manifestation. Because if you're suffering now, right, and then you get to that manifestation, you're still going to be in the capacity of suffering, because you're going to have another manifestation. You'll continue to suffer, right? So the modality by which we find harmony within ourselves, like the observation that moving towards a manifestation goal should feel like a delight, right? That is how we move towards the light. We find the delight within us that moves us towards the light, because it's moving towards a manifestation goal, but feeling delighted every step of the way. So I feel like that's a lot of the energy of the feminine, trying to like work into that space of finding that harmonic point within themselves, right? The space by which they work towards something, but not in the way by which they feel like they're suffering too much. They're suffering profoundly in order to get there. Now, this brings us to the non-binary energy. Can I get 3 cards, please? 3 cards. What do we got? And we're going to be utilizing for non-binary energy the Smith-Waite Centennial deck. And I want to point out there's something really important that we're seeing that's happening right now in relationality to the unconscious, because I told you we're utilizing we have the Aquarian Tarot coming through. for both masculine and feminine in the unconscious space, but for non-binary, it's up in the head space because it's working through, like, this is the energy that's been doing a lot of shadow work is what I keep on getting, which is why, like, why the plutonic energy is moved up into the head space. Can I get 3 cards, please? 1, 2, 3. We've got the Ace of Pentacles in its upright. We've got the 3 of Wands in its reversal. We also have the King of Wands in its upright. I feel like this is a lot of the energy that is working through the understanding that we don't look for anything. We work to embody, right? The space by which we energetically work to embody our dreams is how we find our manifestations, right? This is working through it's very, I keep on hearing like the modality by which the non-binary energy says nobody's ever coming to save us, right? When I keep on hearing when you are looking for someone to go save you, go look in the mirror. Like that is what I keep on hearing. And this is why, because I keep on hearing a lot of this energy can build us into the sense of anticipation. And the failure point of how we carry anticipation, it's a call, right? Anticipation is a call to the self. And often the space by which you're like, oh, I feel like something's going to change. I feel like something's going to change. I feel like something's going to change. Where is the change? Where is the change? Right? And the universe is going, like the universe is going, like, you are the embodiment of the universe, right? And then you feel the call to change and you go, oh, I've been looking everywhere. I just can't see. I'm really annoyed. I feel like I feel like something's going to change. I look around. I can't find the change anywhere. It's the weirdest thing, right? We answer the call. We answer the call within ourselves when we have that energetic feeling. We don't go looking around going, where is it? You go, who do I have to become? What do I have to do? Right? The answering of the call is the space by which we understand or we recognize and identify what we need to bring out within us that allows for that energetic change to happen around us. So for a lot of the energy, and this is why so much of that platonic energy that we're seeing is like pushed up into the head space, because it's like I keep on seeing for a lot of that energy, it's working through the aspiration of the self and getting frustrated at the self. Like they're feeling a lot of that Venus between Mercury and Mars, being like, I'm like the energy that doesn't put that dissatisfaction in the world around them, right? Like feels more of that weight. Like I feel like they feel more of that intense weight to arrive towards the world, right? It's the space by which we give each other to answer that call within us that allows things to be energetically possible. So I keep on getting that for a lot of the energy doing that work, working through those situations and circumstances. The hard part about it is not being too hard on the self right now, because a lot of that energy I just keep on seeing, like working really hard, like having a really clear picture of one, like I keep wondering, having a really clear picture of one's manifestations is its own burden. Is what I keep on hearing. Having a very clear picture of one's own manifestations or purpose is its own burden, because that's why I keep on hearing the same message. We have to hold ourselves gently even as we move towards what it is. And that's where it feels like it's very connected to the feminine message that comes through, which is saying, what's the point of a manifestation goal if you're suffering every step of the way in order to get there? It shouldn't feel like suffering. It should feel like a song of joy as you move towards what you know is for you, right? They're focusing on bringing that feeling into the self by coming, and this is why we talk about, I keep on hearing, centered in self, not self-centered, right? Returning that love to the self, returning the space by which we care about ourselves, returning to the space by which we hold ourselves as precious. That is the start in allowing that change to occur around us, because it's the modality or the ability by which we feel that sense of healing within so that we can bring it forth without. Bottom of the deck on these readings today, bottom of the deck for masculine, we'll be utilizing the Smith-Waite Centennial deck. We've got the Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. So again, more connection. I feel like masculine and non-binary right now, there's a lot of energetic connection there today. but I think it has a lot to do, right? It has like we're going, there's a bit of rut, there's a quality of rut. There is a rut quality to this energy right now. Okay. And I'm going to explain it again. Cancer in Jupiter. I mean, I keep on saying that. Jupiter in Cancer in retrograde, Uranus in Taurus in retrograde. I want to change. It feels impossible, right? It feels impossible. When we're trying to change, it's like when we're trying to change something within us, it feels impossible. It feels impossible. It feels impossible. It feels impossible. And then you're doing it every day. And then you're doing it without thinking, right? This is the sound of a habit that becomes practice, right? This is the sound of something that feels like the frustration that we experience until it becomes rote, like the modality by which we work through things and we work through the energetic hurdle of our own expectation. But then again, what do we learn? Like, what do we learn with Taurus and Uranus? The only way, or Uranus and Taurus, the only way to find a comfort zone is one's own ability to push outside of one. And that doesn't mean you push, and here, and this is where we're going to get to feminine, right? Like navigating masculines, learning to navigate discomfort. What's feminine working on here? Learning to be a sanctuary of joy. Like, you gotta love it, right? Masculine's working to navigate the discomfort necessary to change. Feminine is working through understanding the energetic point of joy, right? The space by which we say it's not with conviction, right? It's saying it's like having the manifestation goal and saying, and I'm going to be happy every step of the way towards it. I'm going to find joy in everything I can from here to there. Not A to B, and every delightful note in between, right? Only the delightful points, right? Like working, understanding a manifestation isn't being like, I want that, being like, these are all the delightful steps I am going to take to move towards the modality or the experience by which I find something. The observation of saying, these are all the points of joy along the way that I am going to embark upon, right? It's like working through, right? And it talks to us about a journey, right? There are two different ways to get somewhere. You're like, I'm going to get there no matter what, right? And you ever have a trip with somebody like that who's like absolutely miserable until you get there, and then you get there and you're like, I don't even know why we came here. It was awful getting here. Like, you know what I mean? You ever have those modalities or experiences with someone where you're like, I'm never going anywhere with you. That was awful. That was like, that's how it feels. Like that's what it feels like when we're too focused on our manifestation goal, right? The modality or the experience by which we're working through, it shouldn't feel absolutely awful until we get there. It should be fun the whole entire way. So I feel like that's a lot of the feminine that's working on allowing the context of joy into the small, like the small spaces, because the more joy that we find along the way, the faster we actually get to our manifestation goals because we're following the energetic feeling. This brings us to the non-binary energy. And we have here for non-binary energy, we'll be utilizing the Aquarian Tarot. This is the Chariot in its reversal, right? It feels bleak right now. This is bleak. It's bleak energy. And bleak energy is often the articulation of feeling the modality of being at one's own. It's like working through the modality by which you often experience, like see and experience things that you identify and recognize are straight up not okay. I see some of this energy being like, I don't know how to articulate to you that you should care about things, is what I keep on seeing. Like the modality or the experience by which, and this is why we understand, because the gift that we have is the ability to effectively honor each other's wishes, right? So long as our wishes don't hurt each other, the gift that we give each other in an experience such as this is to honor each other's wishes. And we work into the space of honoring each other's wishes. And this is why we talk about the fact that being centered in self is not selfish. Because when you're selfish, you say, my wish is the only wish that matters. Doesn't matter what others want. Just matters like just my wish. Right? But the modality by which I keep on hearing this energy say you can have both. You can have an experience by which you move towards your higher self, and you can want that for everyone around you, so long as you are energetically proportionate in relationality to what you bring to things. It is about the energetic generosity. And this is what we talk about. The generosity of spirit is one that expands to everyone around us, right? It is the gift that keeps on giving, because that generosity that we energetically share, it's not just the fact that I have a wish or you have a wish. We all have wishes, right? And the modality by which our wish becomes shared is the space by which we help each other with our wishes, right? We give those wishes to one another. We amplify and we do what we can. When we don't do it entirely for one another, right? But we do everything we can in the modality of, and this is what we talk about in relationality to working through collective efforts, the modality by which one person's wishes amplify another person's wishes. It's the modality by which we move things into the space of healthy progress, right? That becomes like, it's the modality by which we learn and we grow together, right? It's a school of wishes. And so that experience by which we understand and identify that, we understand and we learn along the way, because everything I learn in the modality of reaching my wish supports you being able to find your wish, right? And that's what's so beautiful about it. It's a continual exaltation of the fact that we move towards our point of joy, but not only do we move toward our point of joy, but we share each other what that journey is. But we can't get there. We can't get there if you're spending every moment comparing each other's journeys. Because when you're spending every moment understanding that the gift of seeing another person's journey is the fact that they can help you with yours, and the modality by which you allow that to be the modality by which you move towards something. But in the state by which, instead of experiencing that, you compare and you get mad, you go, I'm mad that they're going on their journey. I want to be on that journey. And still saying that should inspire me to go on my journey, right? Then we don't get anywhere. Right? We have to let go of comparison. Comparison is the most awful thing that one can have in the experience of existing. Because when you spend all of your life comparing, you do not spend any of your time building. When you are looking out, when you are craning your neck every direction, you have no idea where you're going. So that modality, and that's what I keep on seeing, it has to do, and I feel like it's a lot of work that I see that energy navigates as it relates to energy that looks towards them, but feels like it's energetically unwanted attention. This is what we talk about in relationality to fixation, because when someone is in a state of dissatisfaction, the tendency to stare at somebody, it feels very profound. But when we stop staring in our point of dissatisfaction, but instead start concentrating on the self, then we begin to grow. Then we begin to effectively concentrate and be able to stop harboring. Because when you can't harbor, when you have your hands filled with present, when you're working on the present, it becomes a place where everything is renewed. So I feel like I see a lot of that energy doing that work and in articulating that, and particularly and especially in relationality to energy. I keep on hearing fixated energy, having the audacity to call someone energetically selfish in the modality by which they're not giving another person attention. Right? I keep on hearing the paradox of someone articulating selfishness that is more related to how someone, the modality by which another person speaks, that tells you everything you need to know, in the modality by which they're seeing the word. And we have to be very conscious. We have to be very conscientious when we utilize that word selfish, because selfish comes from a demand. Selfish comes from an expectation. And I like to point out, sometimes selfish energy tells on themselves by utilizing that word again and again and again. Because when you're looking at everything and being like, that's selfish, that selfish, what are you demanding from them? What are you asking from them that they're not giving you, that you are thus articulating as them not giving you enough of it? So that modality of understanding, it's not about identifying selfishness, but a lack of reciprocity. But reciprocity is based upon and built upon mutual energetic consent. And as soon as we start to heal that, the sooner we start to heal our relationships, the sooner we can actually get to the business of being able to work on those wishes. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who participated in our recent class on the tarot. Our next class is going to be held on Thursday, January 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be continuing our study into the tarot with the focus on the World card. If you would like to become part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your monthly subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I do my best to give you guys an update on everything we've studied thus far, but the material is there for you to receive as you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a complimentary, you also have access to a one-on-one chat with me to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to our stack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of readings, you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. And you'll also have access to a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader, as well as the seasoned reader. Definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletters there, which will let you know about my in-person events, as well as my online live schedule and my mystic meditation articles, which give you updates on what we've been seeing energetically in the cards. I just wrote one recently on navigating this full moon that we just experienced. I would also like to invite you to the stack to learn more about a very special retreat that I will be hosting August 8th through 13th. I would like to invite you on a tour with me to Tuscany, Rome, and Florence, where we will be studying the tarot in the cradle by which the tarot was first initially discovered, working to sharpen our tarot skills and understand more about the culture that allowed the tarot to find a home. Anyone who becomes part of that tarot class retreat will also be receiving a complimentary mentorship class with me. And if you sign up this week, you will also be entitled to a $200 discount that is expiring shortly. So if you'd like to become a part of that, make sure that you go ahead and register now. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings, which can be purchased per dream or as a series. If you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.